up, everybody? This is Chris Illuminati with BroBible.com, and I am here with the one and only Matt Cardona. Matt, what's up, man?
I'm on the NECAstore.com trying to get this Super Shredder limited edition figure. There's too much traffic. It's not working. I'm flipping out here. I'm trying to do an interview. I'm trying to get this figure. The checkout's not working. I'm panicking.
Is it harder now because everybody is home and like everybody
I think
has time
so.
to do this?
100%. And it's crazy. These collectibles, these toys, they're not just for little kids anymore. There's people our age, adults, buying these things, and it's a big deal if something goes up for pre-order online. It's nuts.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. So let's start off with that. For the past, let's see, they launched last Monday. I cannot find any of the new AEW figures.
Right.
I've been to 4 Walmarts. And look, I don't like to go to one Walmart. I had to go to
Right.
4.
Sure.
So, I mean, I'm sure you maybe had an inside to getting.
Well, I mean, if I have a podcast called the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, one of our sponsors is Ringside Collectibles. So they had the AEW figures in a little early. So I was able to get those, but I love the thrill of the hunt. So I was in Walmart's too looking for the figures. I was able to find the ring and the belt, but no figures yet.
I was going to ask you about that. Is going and hunting and looking for a figure as much fun as when it comes to your house and doing an unboxing? Like
100%. This collecting is my drug, So it's like the highest high finding a figure in the stores if you're really looking for it. But trust me, there's a lot of lows. Driving everywhere, hoping it's going to be there, it not being there, somebody saying it's there, so you get all excited, you drive there, it's not there. Or now there's these websites like BrickSeek where it will tell you what's in stock. You go there, it's still not there. Mm-hmm. So when you find something in the wild, even when you're not expecting it, I think that's the best part, when you're not expecting it. Like, oh my God, this is here. Or if you're going to like a vintage toy store, that's really cool. But yeah, I mean, the thrill of the hunt, it's real, baby.
Now, when you go back when we could all travel town to town, when you went town to town, did you go to like different stores to go hunt for stuff?
Oh, 100%. When I was on the road with WWE, I'd always, I would go on Yelp. I'd Yelp, a Denny's, a gym, and a vintage toy store. You know what I'm saying? You always got to look.
Speaking of vintage toy stores, I want to show you my most recent find that I got today. And what made it so special to me was I had one as a kid, and I sold it like a moron. But I came across.
Oh, that's a Major Wrestling Figure Podcast Hall of Fame figure right there.
Yeah. So I got this for $7. It's in pretty good shape. I had Hawk and Animal.
Right.
I got rid of him as a kid. Stupidly. I mean, did you do that as a kid? Did you sell yours or?
So like all my childhood ones, even as a kid, I was obsessed with figures and with wrestling. So I kept them as a kid, but then when I, grew up and I needed some adult figures, I sold my childhood ones that were all banged up and now have like the mint condition ones. I'm a big believer in letting them breathe, opening them up. So I have all my figures. The majority of them are out of the package, which I guess the value is not there, but I don't really buy these things to resell them.
Yeah, you don't care about that. You just care about having the figure, right?
Right. I mean, have I ever bought a figure with the intention of reselling it? Yes. But the majority of the time, it's for me and for my personal collection, my toy room. It's just wall to wall to wall to wall, all toys. And I walk in there and people say, well, what do you do in there? And sometimes I just like to rearrange things. Like that's the adult version of playing, is like reorganizing your figures, I think.
Right. There are worse addictions to have.
Right, for sure. I mean, this is definitely my addiction, and I'm in. I'm all in, baby.
Actually, someone asked online. I put up that I was going to be talking to you today, and people asked questions. Someone wanted to know, rough estimate, how many figures do you think you have?
I couldn't even tell you. Over thousands for sure. Too many. When I moved from New York to Orlando a little over 3 years ago, my goal was, okay, I'm going to have one room. I'm going to take one of these spare bedrooms. It's not a big room, maybe 10 by 10. That's going to be my toy room, and that's it. If it doesn't fit in the toy room, it's got to go. I have since turned my office into a toy room, kind of, and then my garage, it's like a Toys R Us warehouse. It's everything that doesn't fit in the toy room. So it's out of control.
Well, now it feels like you have to have a podcast like interview room to do stuff. So has that become the toy room? Like what?
Well, so my toy room, I don't know if you're familiar with Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. He has that patented like Scott Hall walk. Like you got to do that into my toy room because the door will hit a shelf. You got to do that Scott Hall walk into the toy room. There's no room for anything. So the podcast takes place where we are now in my office, which has a lot of toys in it.
Okay. Is there a desk in there?
There is a real desk. We're on a desk right now. So there's a desk.
Does the desk have toys in it?
On it.
On it, not in it. On it. Okay, that's fair.
It's on it.
That's fair.
That's
like
fair.
we all do different things. Your office,
sure.
Toys.
Yeah.
Going back to the buying stuff, have you ever bought a figure specifically just to trade it to somebody else for something they had?
Not really, but sometimes like for instance, let's say this just happened to me with some Ninja Turtles figures. I was looking for this Rocksteady and Bebop, but the guy had all 4 turtles and Rocksteady Bebop, but only sell it as a set. Mm-hmm. So I sold my 4 turtles to, I bought these guys. I had to buy these turtles just to really flip those turtles just to get the Rocksteady Bebop. So stuff like that happens often, but I usually don't buy things knowing that someone else is going to need it because the majority of the time, like, it sounds horrible to say, but I'm the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting. Nobody really has, things that I need. And if they do, they don't have it for long.
So are we ever going to see like a Last Dance type documentary on your toy figures?
It might have to happen. It might have to happen because, believe it or not, there is drama and controversy in the toy business. Not everybody loves me in the toy business. There's a lot of haters out there.
All right,
a lot of people don't like Matt Cardona in the toy business.
Let's talk about that. Why?
Okay, number one. So when Brian Myers and I started the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, we started, we were 2 WWE superstars who, we had access to companies like Mattel or the ear of people who were running other toy companies. So we had like this like insider knowledge. We were calling each other the Michael Jordan and the Scottie Pippen. And there were some other people out there who had Wrestling Figure Podcasts who thought we copied them. You can't invent podcasts. Everyone has a podcast. Everyone has something, right? It's all one hobby, all one community. So that's ridiculous anyway. But people they really believe that I think I have the best collection ever, the best collection in the world. That's not true. It's just a gimmick. I don't really think I'm the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting. It's a catchphrase to sell more toys, sell shirts. But people don't like that. People also don't like that I will open up. I'll buy a rare figure, right, or hard to get figure, and I'll let them breathe on camera. I'll destroy that box. And people are pissed. People are pissed, but I don't care. I'm not buying this to resell it. I'm buying it for me. And they don't like that I'm taking one. They're treating it like an endangered species. Like I'm just ripping open something. And now they're like, oh my God, now there's only 125 left in the world. Like, I don't care.
So who gets a little more into it? Wrestling fans or toy fans? Like who's a little bit more like really hard to deal with?
Oh man, it's bad because with the podcast you have wrestling fans, right, who are diehards, and then if you're a wrestling toy fan, you're a real diehard. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So good or bad. So you're either really into us or you really hate us.
I can't believe you have heat for toy. I mean, I guess you would anything.
It's unbelievable. I got a package to my house a couple of days ago, and it had I guess a couple of weeks ago by now, and it just had the catchphrases and slogans of the other wrestling figure podcasts, like all over the package, like give these guys credit, like blah, because I bought something off eBay. And here's the thing now if I'm buying something off eBay, I'd say 9 times out of 10, they recognize the name and they know where it's going. So probably not the smartest thing for me.
No, you need like a P.O. box and an alias.
I do have a P.O. box. Well, my alias was my real name for a while because
right, you ruined that.
Right, I ruined that. And I do have the P.O. box, but I'm too lazy to go there. It's like 20 minutes away. I'd rather just come to the house.
Did you ever pitch like an angle where like you did something with figures on TV? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No. I'll tell you what, we did pitch for the podcast to be a WWE thing while we were still there, and they wanted nothing of it. They didn't see the vision, We wanted a WWE network show about toys. They didn't see the vision, which thank God they didn't, because we did it on our own, and now it's ours. And, when we got released from WWE, it would have became theirs, So thank God we're doing it on our own. Like, listen, I love figures. I love bringing awareness because, listen, it's 2020 now. remember 40-year-old virgin? That guy was a loser. He was a virgin and he had all these toys. Like it's cool now. I'm not a virgin. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
cool. So if adults can, proudly collect comics or play video games, why can't they collect figures? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's no difference in, like you said, like anything that you collect. Like people, there's odder things that people collect. Like you go to someone's house and they have like 20 animals on the wall, animal heads.
Yeah,
like
right.
To me, that's way weirder than like a figure of a wrestler.
Right. Like to me, like I'm not a car guy, so I think it's weird if someone has like a bunch of expensive cars. To me, I think that's a waste of money. But I know they come in my toy room like, oh my God, you have this Rhythm and Blues Greg the Hammer Valentine prototype. Why would you spend that much money on it? I get it. I understand why people think I'm crazy. I get it. But it's my passion, my hobby. I'm not judging others. They shouldn't judge me.
What's the like one white whale that you don't have yet that you want to get?
There's a couple things that are rumored to be out there, but we don't know. There's the underground wrestling figure community. It's small, but it's powerful. So there's a lot of collectors out there that are very private. So some things that you hear rumors that it might be out there, and there's rumors that there's this Hasbro Diesel figure that was never released. Now I do have the unreleased head and the drawing, so there's some sort of proof. But I have heard that there's an actual hand-painted sample of it. So if that ever came out, I would go nuts.
So it's an actual, like somebody has the prototype before it didn't even become the prototype.
That is, because it never came out. But there are rumors that someone owns the prototype. And now I own a prototype, an unpainted prototype head. So I know it got to that stage.
Yeah.
And I have the official Hasbro drawing. So I know it got to that stage. Did it get to the next stage? Right. We'll find out soon.
Was it because he jumped to WCW? Like what happened?
No, it was because the Hasbro lost the toy line in like '95. So there's a final set that never came out that was rumored for years. It was always rumored. And over the past couple of years, we found the drawings. I say we. The wrestling figure community has found the drawings and a lot of the heads. And then last year, 2 of the hand-painted prototypes popped up, a Doink the Clown and a Lex Luger. And I lost the Lex Luger on eBay, and it broke my heart. He got me. He sniped me last minute. But thank God he did. It was an expensive figure, so I'm glad. And with that Lex Luger, the guy, I had suspicion that the guy was buying this just to try to flip it back on me, and I was correct. He bought it, held on to it for a couple of months, and then tried to sell it to me for with $5,000 added to the price tag. I said, no thanks, bro.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's say, I saw on your timeline that you posted, so Kamala passed away yesterday.
Yes.
When something like that happens, does that change the value of his toys? Like, do people start looking for his toys more?
I think temporarily, but I think long term it'll kind of like even out. Okay. So I think right now it's fresh in the minds, and not just when someone dies, when something, for instance, there was a show called The Dark Side of the Ring.
Yes.
It's a very cool show, and there was an episode on New Jack. So all of a sudden, all those New Jack figures went through the roof. Will it eventually settle down? I think so. But it's supply and demand, baby. That's what it is.
Yeah. Do figures like this tend to go for more because AWA really didn't put it together any?
Yeah. So there are a couple AWA figures that I don't have, and not only do I not have them, I don't even know where to get them. They're that hard to get. So of course they're on my save search listing. It's AWA of the Sheik. I'm trying to think. I can go to my saved searches and see who it is.
Did you get that figure? Did you get the Ninja Turtle one?
No, I stopped trying. I'm trying right now. It keeps. Let's see here. They're saying too many people I'm on a virtual line, whatever that means. That means I'm probably not going to get it. I'll just have to get it on eBay.
Do they make you wear a mask on the virtual line? Is that how it works?
I'm just pressing check out. Nothing's happening now.
You probably bought 50 and you don't even realize it.
I'll take it, baby. I'll take it.
So the safe search. I used to have as a kid, I remember I had the fabulous ones.
Yes.
Go with the Road Warriors.
Yes.
And I feel like I had one more guy from the AWA line. I don't remember who it was. And the one that drives me nuts to this day. So a friend of the family used to work for a limo service. And he used to take wrestlers so I'm right in the middle of Jersey, and I'm 45 minutes from Philly, an hour and 15 from New York. So he used to drive guys limo back and forth to wherever they were going. He drove Flair all the time.
Oh, wow.
And one time he was nice enough, so he went to the store, got me the 1991, like I think it was like 91-ish. Had Flair autograph the box, gave it to me. I don't know where the hell I put
Yeah.
it. God knows where. And like at
Right.
the time, I was like, this is awesome. And then like you just kind of like I think like a lot of times like collectors are happy for morons like me who like
Right, for
didn't
sure.
pay attention to
Right.
things that stuff comes out. Have you ever done the yard sale thing? You ever go to people's yard sales?
So, like, I found some crazy things in yard sales. I haven't gone recently, but I remember, like, back in the day, I found, or my grandma actually found for me at a yard sale, like some of the WWF LJNs. And at the time, this is like pre-internet. I didn't even know these guys existed, and she
Mhm.
was able to find some of the harder to get ones. I was like, oh my god!
Wow.
And I still have those childhood ones. I still have to this day because like the later series were only released in Canada and
Mhm.
they're super hard to get. I don't even know how this guy had them. I think they were just like mail away. You can like mail away for them in like old wrestling magazines. But yeah, to this day, like even on eBay, you can find someone doesn't know what they have, they list it, and if you're able to find it quick, just buy it now, baby.
Yeah, I feel like you have to do the legwork. You have to look for the guys who worked for the companies back in the day,
Yes,
and they
yes,
somehow hung on to prototypes,
right.
drawings, and things like that.
Yeah, so that's what I've done because I've gotten into a lot of pre-production stuff lately, and that exactly what you said. You have to find the old employees, and that's where I've gotten a lot of my high-profile stuff. Is employee X
Mhm.
goes in his garage and finds this box of stuff,
Mhm.
doesn't want it anymore, and he's like, "Let's just get rid of this,"
Yeah,
and you still have to pay a decent price for it because they're not stupid. They know what they have,
right.
but if you find it and you're dealing with this guy person to person and not in some crazy eBay bidding war, you'll
Mhm.
get a better deal.
Yeah, and I always feel like those guys like they give two shits about what they have. Like it's in a box somewhere in their house, and they're
Right,
like, oh,
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think nowadays people are kind of more aware, but definitely in like the early 2000s,
Mhm.
people were just unloading.
Mhm.
Like there's this guy, Ron Rudat from Hasbro, was just kind of like unloading his stuff. People were getting it for dirt cheap.
Mhm. Um, if you could give anybody advice, like if they wanted to get into collecting today, and you wanted to give them some advice, what would you say?
Patience. Do the opposite of what I have. Have some patience, kind of what I do is I have like a little checklist of what I'm looking for. You always need to have that mental list or that checklist. And then on eBay, save searches are key. You can search something and then save it. And then literally every day you can go and see if there's anything new. And that's when you'll find something, for a quick buy. If it's something really hard to get, if you're one of the first people to see it, you can buy it now right away.
Mhm.
The bidding on stuff, it's tough because who knows how high it's going to go. But definitely be patient if you're trying, like, let's say you're trying to build the AWA line.
Mhm.
You don't have to, wait for a good price, and it's fun. The journey is fun. You know what I'm saying? And that way too, it's something to look forward to. If you get them all in a month or 2 months, well, then what? Then you're gonna have to collect something else. But if you slowly building towards something, you have this goal in mind. It's like anything in life. You have this goal, you set this goal, and you work hard for it. The payoff at the end is great.
Um, what's the God damn it, I just had a question and it just totally zoomed out of my head. Um, what's one piece in your collection that you would never get rid of no matter how much money?
There's this Greg the Hammer Valentine Rhythm and Blues Hasbro figure.
Mhm.
It's a prototype. It never came out in, I don't know the exact date, but it was an early 90s WWF magazine. If you flip the cover, there was a Toys R Us ad
Mhm.
showing the new tag teams. It was like the Bushwhackers, Demolition, the Rockers, and Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine Rhythm and Blues. You go to the store, Rockers are there, Demolition, Bushwhackers are all there, but the Rhythm and Blues aren't there. Honky Tonk Man eventually comes out by himself. And
Mhm.
as a kid, I thought, oh man, I just never found this 2-pack. I need it. And
Mhm.
then later on, you find out like through toy magazines and then the early days of the internet that it was unreleased, never came out. But I was able, like you said, by finding a Hasbro employee, he had that Greg the Hammer Valentine from that Toys R Us ad.
Oh
He
man.
had it in a box. He posted it on some Facebook group, like a bird's eye view of this box he found in his garage or his basement of all this stuff. And like a hawk, I could spot that Greg foot. He wasn't even showcased. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually I bought the entire lot of things from him. And that's when I took some things and I sold them, but I kept what I wanted because that was more of an investment. It was like a ridiculous amount of money. I flipped everything that I didn't want. ended up making money and keeping the things I did want, including that Greg the Hammer Valentine, which is my number one. And it's weird because like I'm not like a Greg the Hammer Valentine fan. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a fan. You know, I don't dislike it, but I'm not like, oh my God, he's my favorite. It's that figure. You know what I'm saying? It's that rhythm and blues, that figure I never had as a kid. I thought came out and never did, and that's why it's my prized possession.
It's kind of like you're like the Indiana Jones of the
exactly. Yes.
You're finding lost treasures.
Right.
When you had all the wrestling buddies, right? Those big.
100%. Oh yeah.
Those worth anything? No.
They are actually, if you get them in the package, you know, in the package, and they're still fluffy, because if you play with them, they become very, very flat. Right. You know what I'm saying? Over time. So if you get them on eBay, and all my childhood ones got destroyed because I would wrestle with them on the trampoline in the backyard. So I have rebought them. A good trick though is if you get it, it's a little dirty, just put it in a pillowcase and put it in your washing machine a couple times and let it air dry, as good as new.
Oh wow! Look at that! Look at that! Matt handing out some tricks here to do some.
That's right.
I like it. How many of your own figures do you think you own?
Ooh, so I own this is kind of weird. So I'm a collector of stuff. So I try to collect everything Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, whether it be figures or Topps cards. You know, I'm not John Cena. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier for me to collect everything of mine. It's easier to keep track.
Right.
I do. Fortunately, I've had a great career, so I have a lot of weird items. Like I have Zack Ryder slippers or a garden gnome, like some ridiculous things, and all that is in like it's just in storage in my garage. But I at least have one of everything that I know of. I'm sure there's a couple things I don't even know exist, some overseas stuff, you know. But for my figures, I probably have about like 20 different figures, and I have them all. And then now with the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, we're producing our own action figures, which is like an absolute dream of mine.
What was it like the first time you saw yourself in action figure form?
Oh, it was amazing, because it's something that, you know, I think every kid who wants to be a wrestler dreams of, is, you know, being in a video game, having an action figure. And, you know, I think if you're a wrestler and you get an action figure, that's cool. But if you're a wrestling figure fan who's a wrestler who gets an action figure, it's even cooler, you know?
That's true. Well, I don't know if you ever thought about it this way, but what does it feel like? So you see yourself as an action figure, but what does it feel like to know, like, there's some kid on Christmas morning who opens up the Matt Cardona action figure and is like, oh yes, and like gets crazy excited about that?
It's such a really cool experience. And now, you know, I'm only 35, but I've been, you know, in the business for a long time now. So there are people that I know who are in the business, in the wrestling business, who are pretty successful, who, you know, in their early teens, I was their favorite wrestler. There's one wrestler who, you know, who dressed up as me for Halloween, you know, and now is in the business. So it's crazy. It makes me feel really old.
That's crazy.
And then I got to remind myself, you're only 35. You're only 35.
Yeah, you're not that old.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Since let's talk about wrestling for a couple minutes, since, you know, that is your main profession.
Sure.
So AEW, is that a full-time contract? How's that working?
Yeah, so I only have a couple dates signed, but I didn't go there just to get a new T-shirt. You know, I'm there for the long haul. That's the goal. That's the plan. To show the world what I can do, to win some championships, and to have some fun. And it's a great environment there. You know, the past 2 weeks I was there, I loved it. It was great. It was, you know, it was weird being like the new kid in school, you know, meeting all these new friends and stuff like that. But, you know, the reception online has been great. Of course, a couple of haters, whatever. It's life. It's going to happen. But I was very happy with my performance, and I can't wait to do more with them.
You know, people always concentrate on the negative that's happened with the COVID-19 thing. Have there been any positives, like with wrestling? You're not wrestling in front of a big audience anymore, but it's probably not as hard on your body because you're not going out there night in and night out.
Right. That's for sure. I mean, of course, the situation of this world, not just the wrestling business, but this world, it's crazy. Something none of us could have predicted, and we're all adjusting to it, right? We're all adjusting to it in our own way. And, you know, with the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, we were afraid, like, oh no, like, what's going to happen with like our podcast? Like our main, you know, our business model is like people buying figures and wanting to buy our merchandise and stuff like that. I can't, the business has boomed. for the podcast. I think people they just want to, they want an escape. They want some content. They want to consume content. They want an escape from reality. So they've been like listening to our podcast. We have a subscription service. It's unbelievable. So I thank our fans for that. But, I think when everything turns around and the wrestling business, and there's fans in the seats, we can do more independent shows and, stuff like that. I think the wrestling business is going to be hotter than ever because the wrestlers are excited. The fans are excited. And, they just want to see wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, prior to COVID, I can't even remember the last live show that I went to. But when it's over, like, I'm buying a ticket to whatever comes.
100%. Exactly. You have to go.
What it is, like, I'm going.
Right.
And it's just, that's all there is to it.
Right.
What, when you first got into the wrestling business, what was like the best piece of advice? What have you carried with you the entire time?
I think, like the old expression of like, ears open, mouth shut, like I was taught, I hate saying like back in my day, but it was, I was taught and I learned like just respect the business. And I think that goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? Like Mikey Whipwreck, my original trainer, or Bill DeMott, who trained me in Deep South Wrestling. Like, I think they taught me the fundamentals of how to survive this business. And, Bill DeMott made me very mentally tough because there's going to be a lot of highs and lows. There's going to be a lot of mind games, a lot of politics, and you can't let things get to you. And if they get to you, you can't show it. You know what I'm saying? You can't sell it. You gotta keep moving forward. And, this I wasn't really taught, but I think it's very important, is that you can't just whether it's wrestling or whatever job you're in, you can't just love it when things are going your way. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to love it when you're the champion and you're undefeated and you're on every pay-per-view. It's easy to love it that way, right? You got to love it when it sucks. You got to love it when you hit rock bottom. You just got to love everything about it, because when you get that opportunity and you make the most of it and you get a great moment, it's so much sweeter. You know what I'm saying? If you want it so bad, you're clawing for it, and you're digging for it, and you're working your ass off for it. And I think you appreciate it that much more. And that's kind of just like, the story of my career, like always being ready. And that's my hashtag, my cute little hashtag on social media, always ready. Right. But I believe it, if you want an opportunity and then you finally get it, well, shit, you better be fucking ready for it.
Right.
Right. So, and you don't know, some of us don't know when that opportunity is going to be. So you always got to be ready. You always got to do the work. I believe that 100%, not just in wrestling, but in life.
What's the worst piece of advice you ever got?
Ooh.
You don't have to say what was.
Yeah.
Or if you
I don't know if anyone ever gave me bad advice, but I do think
they kind of told you, like,
I do think that if you ask too many people for advice, that's bad. Because here's the thing, you can't please everybody, right? So, if I'm asking you for advice and you take your time and you give me advice, but then I don't use it, well, why'd I waste your time? Why did you bother, giving me your knowledge? So if you ask too many people, right? And the next, for instance, if I'm wrestling, if I have a match, right? And I first of all, here's another thing. When the match is over, if you had a good match or not.
Yeah.
Right? But some people, and some people do genuinely want advice, and I understand that. So this is not geared towards them, but the people who are like kissing butt and brown nose. And if you ask 10 different people backstage, they're all going to give you different advice, because wrestling is like, there's different flavors of ice cream. Everyone has a different flavor, a different style, what they like to see. So the next time you go out, there's no way you're going to be able to make all those people happy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you should only ask someone advice if you truly, truly want their opinion. I don't think you should ask people advice just to be, I'm going to ask so-and-so advice. Like, what's the point?
Right. If you see one of the younger guys, if you're watching a match or something, would you be the type of person that goes up and kind of tells them, or would you wait and see if they ask?
Listen, like, if it's something so drastic, I think maybe I would say something. But I would say majority, I would just let them come to me if they wanted my advice. It's like when you're in the gym and you see someone like with horrible form, and not like, some like egomaniac guy who's just trying to get the weight up, like some kid, he's new to the gym and you just know he doesn't know. Yeah. Right. So I always get to like, do I say something to him? Hey bud, you're doing it wrong. Not that I'm like the form police, but like, because I want to help him out.
Right.
Maybe I should do that more often.
I've always noticed. You ever notice it's always the lat pull down machine?
Oh, that's what I'm thinking. Lat pull down.
It's like this, or like
Yeah.
no, like you can even see it's right in front of you. Like in most gyms, the little cutout is right there. Like you're just pulling down. Like or people.
Right.
I've always seen the guys. The one guys I will say something to is the guys who like take it and they're almost like pushing it down.
Yeah.
Like they're got dynamite or something, and they're like trying to get it touch the seat. I'm like,
right.
What muscle do you think is working?
Right.
You know, so those guys. So if you see somebody really doing something bad, you say something. So to kind of like wrap it up, for the figure trading thing, like what are you looking most forward to getting back to normal once the world gets back to normal? Like, what's the first? Are you gonna like hit as many Walmarts as you can for stuff? Like, what are you gonna do to make things feel back to normal?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, you know, I've been going to like Walmarts down here in Florida and stuff like that. But I would like some just to wrestle in different states and check out the vintage toy stores in different states. That was always so much fun. Is like, you know, if I'm on the road, find a different gym to work out in or find a different toy store. That was always so much fun because you never know what you're gonna find in these toy stores. Yeah.
And are you gonna take the pod on the road once things?
That's another thing. We you know, we've done a couple live shows, and you know, because of the pandemic, we had to cancel what was going to be our biggest live show, our 5th live show, WrestleMania weekend. We ended up doing it on YouTube. It was fine. It was fun, and we did it for the fans, you know. But we had a couple live shows that were, you know, scheduled for this summer that we had to cancel. So that's always the best part. I love doing the live shows because it's more of like a variety show than like a podcast. It's crazy, like what's going to happen next. And it's always these diehard fans. People travel from all over the country to these shows, which blows my mind because they're always in different parts of the country. And we always try to give them something that they'll never forget and that they can't get anywhere else, you know, and like whether it be exclusive merchandise or, you know, we do after the show, we do like meet and greet VIPs, and it's not like a table and someone comes up and we sign next, like, you know, we're talking to each person, and we're usually in a bar situations. We're all like drinking, having a wild time, and we try to like close down the bars with these people afterwards. So it's a lot of fun, and I do miss that. I do miss, you know, meeting the fans, and I can't wait for that.
Who's your ultimate pod guest that you want to have on?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Ooh, that's a good question.
Doesn't have to be a wrestler. It could be anybody. Like,
yeah, I think, you know, for the wrestling podcast, I would love to have like somebody like maybe like a Sting or Rey Mysterio, somebody who I don't know if they even know of how the term is toyetic they are. Like they have so many different figures because their outfits are so colorful and so toyetic. So someone like a Rey Mysterio, like just to hear if he knows like how valuable his AAA Kellyan rookie figure from Mexico is worth and stuff like that. I'd love to hear that.
He doesn't. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I think he does have one, but I don't think he realizes how important it is.
Right. But he doesn't know. He probably doesn't know it's important. Like,
right.
He's probably somewhere in his house hanging up, and he doesn't even know.
Right. So like someone like that, like a Sting or something like that, like a Bret Hart, maybe like that. Some one of the icons in this business who've had a lot of cool figures, and to see like if they remember anything about them.
Yeah, that would be good. I'd love to see the Sting one. Like I was a huge Sting fan growing up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be cool. Well, Matt, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Good luck.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Good luck with AEW and everything you do, and I hope you get those Ninja Turtles. I hope that works out for you.
Yeah, I think it's sold out, so I gotta go to eBay, baby. It's all good.